Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Sounds From The Cellar, hosted by the Olive Tree Madmen. Today we have a singer, a songwriter, and trumpeter named Jennifer Hartswick. She played with everybody from Herbie Hancock to Fish, Carlos Santana, to name a few. Next up, Jennifer Hartswick.
Home, sometimes it just isn't good enough. Maybe we start giving up our everything. My life, dreams can't always be enough. I'm tired and hopelessly holding on, but we've overgrown. Scattered pictures of who we were, full of joy and now this hurt. Walking on without you, we can hold this memory, letting go of this fairy tale. And I will love you endlessly, not who we were, but who we are. Feet will not lead the way. I'm stronger alone, no regrets, my dear. Can't believe that we stayed this long. No one counted us, they were wrong. I'm walking on without you. We can hold this memory, letting go of this fairy tale. And I will love you endlessly, not who we were, but who we are. We can hold this memory, letting go of each other's hands. And I will love you endlessly, not who we were, but who we are. We've overgrown, here's to the unknown. We can hold this memory, letting go of each other's hands. And I will love you endlessly, not who we were. Of each other's hands. I will love you endlessly.
Welcome to Sounds From The Cellar, Jennifer Hartswick. How's it going?
Lovely. Thanks. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Jennifer Hartswick, ladies and gentlemen, famed vocalist,
Trumpet player.
famed trumpet player. Is it
Yeah.
trumpetist? Trumpet?
Trumpeteer?
Trumpeter.
That's it.
Trumpeter?
That's it. You win. Trumpeter.
What'd
Yeah.
you say? Trumpeter?
Trumpeter.
Oh, yeah. I said trumpeteer.
Trumpeter
Yeah.
sounds like
Yeah.
It's
probably
exciting.
in
That seems
England
like it
like
was
300 years ago.
Lots
That's
of
the correct
creative
term.
entries in this grammar contest. Lots of flair displayed. It's
better-
Trompetista
Yeah.
is what I prefer.
That's nice. Yeah.
Better than the options for trombone. We
Yeah.
don't have to talk about
Trombone.
that.
I know. I'm sorry.
went right there.
I'm sorry about that.
So, yeah, Jen, you've been on the road for how many years have you?
106.
106
Yeah,
years.
look great.
Look amazing.
Yeah.
How old am I? Like 26 plus years? I don't know. A long time. A
Wow.
long time.
Wow.
We've been on the road a good amount of that together. Not actually the majority, though.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, though, aren't we?
Well, tell us about so you guys are Vermonters. That's your initial connection.
Yes.
Do talk
Yes.
about that there.
I met young Nicholas, when he was 14 years old.
Hello.
Here, I'm going to move this down a little bit so we can see more of your lovely face.
Hello, dear.
I'm going to make a really messed up face just for you.
There we go. Sorry. So yeah, tell us about
Nick and I met Nick when he was 14 years old at in a high school when I was much older than he was, much graduated. I had to be at least 19 at the time. And there was a high school battle of the bands, and Nick's band was involved, and I had the distinct honor of judging said battle of the bands.
Because she was a local celebrity.
Because I was a famed local celebrity.
Famed
yes,
trumpeter.
yeah. And obviously his band won because he's Nick Cassarino.
that. Right.
What are
Yeah.
you going to do?
And they made me sit through like 20 other bands before they put him on. And I was like, oh, this is such a waste of time. I mean, great job, kids. But you know he's going to win. Because and he was like a little mini Dave Matthews and writing his own music.
Yeah.
And he was great. And I said, when you get a license, we should go on tour together.
Hey man, you're really good. I need a driver.
That's it.
So you were known as a trumpet player
Yes.
at that time.
Yeah.
As a singer as well at that point?
Not really. I always sang. But no, I was playing trumpet mostly. And I only started really singing in order to be more employable, to be honest.
Right.
I started, I always sang in choir. My mom's a music teacher and all that kind of good stuff. But when I started touring at like 20, that's kind of when I started to sing more. And then the scales evened out, and now I sing more than I play these days. But at that time, I was playing a lot more than I was singing.
So how'd you get into trumpet?
I grew up in a big old musical family. They're all brass players.
Okay.
My grandma played trumpet. My grandfather played French horn and trombone. My mom is one of 5 kids. She's the only reed player. Everybody else is a brass player. And so when I was 7 or 8, she gave me a flute and a clarinet and a saxophone, and she was like, "Please, please, please, please." And I chose trumpet after that.
Wow, like a family full of like
Just
wind
loud
instruments.
You don't hear about that often.
Yeah.
I know, and this is a bit dark, but the funerals in your family must have been off the charts.
So stupid.
You know what's cool? No one dies in my family.
That's great.
He went straight to funerals. He didn't go to celebrations.
Right. We need a version of that Godfather 2 funeral at the top of the...
We can make you one of those.
Great funeral.
No, but Christmases were really fun. We'd break
yeah.
out like the brass quintet music, and I thought that was normal. It's not. Nobody was doing that. None of my friends were doing that.
What kind of genres were you specializing in on trumpet?
Oh, we were all. Everyone is a classical musician. I'm the only weirdo in the fam. That's not true, but the only musical black sheep in the family. But they're all like world class classical musicians, and so we never even like turned on a radio until I was probably like 18 and left the house, and I was like, I guess there is some validity in other music, because my mom was always listening to classical music. My dad's the only outcast of the family who isn't a musician, and when I would hang out with him, like, you want to go to town, I'd be like, okay, and he'd like play like the Doobie Brothers.
I was gonna say, put on the
He's like,
Eagles
"You're
or
so
something."
excited. And I'd be like, this is fine. I love you. It's fine.
Shout out Jim.
But also, hi, Jim. But yeah, he was the only one who in the whole family who listened to like regular music.
So by the time you heard Nick at that competition, had you been exposed to other genres, or were you still in classical?
I had branched off. I would say like when I got to be 12 or 13, I took a real shining to jazz music and delved in pretty deep. And then that opened up all kinds of other doors. But yeah, I would say I had a better spectrum at that point.
Yeah, I was thinking about something. Is it hard being so good? Because like the thing about that is like when you can do so much and you have so much facility, sometimes like I feel like it can be hard to choose what to do. Sometimes for me when I project and think about it.
Yeah.
Right.
But like how does it feel for you? Do you feel happy about it?
I think
The guy's killing over here.
it's very kind of you. First of all, it's very nice of you to say. I think it's just like I am drawn to the things that I'm drawn to, and then also I am employed by people who it's not exactly my vision, I would say, but also part of doing what we do as being a musician and a side musician and all that stuff is being able to support everybody else. And so I'd say like for me, the best feeling I have is when I'm on the road with my people playing our music. And it's a whole different sense of fun and pride and that kind of stuff. And then you can go on tour, for a million years with other people and not feel that same kind of feeling. Right. I always appreciate the opportunities, but I don't know, I'm drawn to what I'm drawn to. And it's not always what's popular or what's employing me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I love playing with you so much is because the, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the sheer, unbelievable talent of your ear. Because Jen, for those of you who don't know, she hears like everything. Like we listen to symphonies in the car. She's putting down parts in there. We listen to gospel music. We listen to music from Ghana. We listen to music from all over the world. And it's like you always hear so much. And that's one thing I love about you. It's not a question, just a statement.
Well, I hear it, but doesn't mean I can play it.
Right.
It's the problem. If I would shed more, then I would be able to play all the things that I could hear. Because I hear a lot, but it doesn't necessarily translate into something that's like...
Do you relate to singing and trumpet playing similarly, or do you...
Totally.
Do you feel more connected to one to the other or more native with one?
I would say the reason I sing the way I do is because I play trumpet. But I'm able to express myself more easily vocally because I don't have a big old hunk of metal in my way.
All right. So how does like the mystical aspects of music, how do you feel, what do you think about that in that regard?
I have always had like a spiritual aspect of everything that I do. I started as a Reiki practitioner when I was in my early 20s. It just sort of lends this otherworldliness to what I'm doing. And so I feel like when I'm playing music, there's like a feeling of on the surface bringing joy to people and making people dance and all that kind of stuff where you're bringing people together and it's a communal activity. But there's also a side of it where I feel like I can offer healing to folks, whoever is willing to receive it, Right. So if I'm on stage in front of 5,000 people, I'll set an intention before I go out on stage and just offer that anyone who's open to receiving it will receive Reiki energy that comes out through music. There's been all kinds of really interesting things that have happened when I do that.
Let's hear it.
I was in Portland once playing a show, and Reiki energy presents itself to me as like an ultraviolet purple color, which is mostly, that happens for most people. But all of a sudden, there was a woman with this huge spike of really beautiful ultraviolet energy coming out of her head, like just like this beautiful arc. And I thought, okay, cool. Well, that's cool. And then there was another one coming from the same place. And I met her after the show and she's pregnant.
Whoa.
I was like, well, that's cool. I could have told you that, but from like what I was seeing.
Wow. You're saying because there were two things that came out.
There were two separate. One was coming this way and one was a little lower and going the other way from the baby. Yeah. So, You may think that we're just up there, like, having a good time, but there's some cool stuff going on.
There's work happening. So
Yeah.
about the Reiki, like, what's up with it? What's up with it now?
What do you mean?
Are you practicing it now?
Yes. I'm about to open a Reiki studio in Nashville, actually, where I live, which is the first time I've done that. I've been practicing for over 20 years, and this will be the first time that I'm like having a brick and mortar come hang out Reiki studio.
Okay. Has this been announced yet? In the
No,
world?
no. Oh, breaking news. This is
Breaking
breaking No,
news.
it certainly hasn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Exclusive.
What's it called?
Reiki Nashville.
Let's go. Reiki Nashville.
Very
Pull up.
descriptive.
Get to know it.
I asked my songwriter friends who are so brilliant with lyrics, I said, what should I call it? And they both said, don't get cute. Just call it what it is. Don't be stupid. And I said, okay.
I love that.
No, she's got
I was
some
going to be stupid. I was going to be making something totally stupid.
That's the jazz.
purple
Yeah, exactly.
lines.
That's the jazz in you. Whoever was talking to you was the country.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely
So
country
funny.
writer.
Yeah, she's got some heavy hitter friends in Nashville. Shout out Chris Galbuta,
Hey, buddy.
other writers. How long you lived in Nashville?
A little over 10 years, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so you've seen the change, like the big old change.
The big change. I
Yeah.
also refer to myself as part of the problem.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I
you're,
moved with that,
you're
yeah.
Blowing.
Yeah. But I'm less of a problem now.
Yeah. Right.
Now there's like
Yeah.
a real problem. No, everybody wants to move there.
Yeah.
Everybody is moving there.
And still, is it
Yeah.
still? I mean, because like
Yeah.
10 years ago was, geez, actually, I remember even more than that.
Yeah.
It was like, get in there now. You can get a house and a garden
Yeah.
for nothing.
20 years
not that
ago,
now, right,
cool.
at all.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
now forget about it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a song of yours called Only Time Will Tell. Can you
Okay.
tell us about the writing of that? I believe you guys had a little getaway to write together.
We did.
Yeah.
Nick and Nick was staying at bed and breakfast in Vermont during COVID. You ended up there for several months, right?
This was, second round of COVID.
Second year.
Second year COVID.
And I decided to just get in the car and drive to Vermont, and we said, let's go write a record together. And it was the middle of winter. Oddly enough, it was January 6th.
She
How
was,
about that?
She was driving up on January 6th, and me and
We're
my
like,
wife.
this great thing just happened. Let's celebrate.
That's exactly right. So I was halfway up there, and his wife Erin called me, and she goes, "You probably aren't listening to the radio right now, are you?" I said, "No." She's like, "You might wanna." Turn it on. So anyway, all three of us wrote that whole album together in about a week, and we spent a week in the snowbanks and cooking and writing, and
Yep,
it was a
learning how
really
to.
special
Tell us about-
experience.
I'm really curious about the sound that you guys went for in that song, particularly like vocally and like the use of horns and stuff like that. There's some clear influences there. I don't want to say them. Do you want to say? Because just in case I'm wrong, because
You
could be
could.
wrong.
I'm curious. what
definitely
you
not
think.
an Elvis. No. But I hear some Roy in there
For sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
But tell us about like making the sound for
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
We were in the studio in Nashville doing vocals and horns after the January 6th celebration. No, some months
After the
later.
January 6th hootenanny.
Yeah.
So stupid. Once we went to Nashville and did some stuff, and basically, Jen in the studio it's lethal because you could do anything. So it's like, all right, what are we gonna do? And so basically, what happened was we took a solo that she played. And we comped it and put the solo together the way we wanted it. And then we were like, what if she sat? Whose idea was it? Was it your idea? My idea, our idea, her idea. We started singing, or she started singing in between the solo. I'm fucking it up. I can't remember what came first. The chicken and
I
the
think
other
I
lady.
think the vocal thing came first.
Vocal thing came first.
Yeah, I think I sang a thing,
And then you played,
and then
played to it.
I put horns in the holes.
That's what happened. And then we stacked the horns.
Yeah,
like doing some Roy shit because it just sounded like that type
I just
of vibe.
wanted it to be a conversation, you know, like the whole song is sort of like a conversation about, you know, you know, headbutting situations. And I
Yeah.
thought it would be cool to like have a little weird little battle like that between horns and vocal.
Yeah, and like months before I was playing that guitar part, and she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "That's something I don't know. I'm just something I'm trying to figure out." She goes, "I want that."
I want that.
And I was like, "All right,
You
cool."
told me
Like,
later that it was a
dibs.
bass line.
yeah, that was
You're
gonna
like,
be
oh,
the
that was the
bass
bass line. I was like, nope,
Boom,
that's the
boom.
melody.
She's
Let's
like,
go.
"No, that's the melody. We did it like this." And then months later, we did it. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Beautiful.
Well, we're gonna hear it.
1, 2, 3, come on.
Well, I told you when you came back that you better get your stuff packed. No matter how this goes, no exception or redemption, just an exit. I should've known better. You were lazy, never settled, and you played me. And now I'm not jealous, I'm just angry. And all this time you made me share those lies, but only time will tell how the cards are dealt. I thought I knew you well, but only time will tell. Same old story. Then you bore me. Can you ever just surprise me? I got your attention. Woo, listen closely. Woo, ragged chapter finally folding. We could have been something. You were crazy, never settled, and you played me. And now I'm not jealous, I'm just angry. And all this time you made me share those lies, but only time will tell how the cards are dealt. I thought I knew you well, but only time will
All right. So now we're joined by Butter.
Yes. Y'all mentioned Roy Hargrove. What kind of influence was he on your trumpet playing?
I mean, I was born in 1980, so at the time where I was sort of discovering new music, he was sort of at the forefront of all of that. You know, it was like sort of like Young Lions time. It's like him and Christian McBride and like Josh Redman and it's like all this sort of like jazz stuff. But what he had was so special. Like it was like he took all the knowledge and nerdiness of jazz, but made it cooler than anybody could ever make it. And then when the D'Angelo Voodoo record came out, it was like all over for all of us. We just like the only thing that we cared about was Roy. It's just like the most delicious trumpet playing.
Your next project is due when? Or are you working on
The
something
12th
now?
of never.
The 12th
Yeah.
of never.
Let me tell you about the project that I'm involved in right now.
Please.
I've been on the road consistently since I was 17. I'm about to be 44. And I'm taking a little break.
Okay.
That's just real. Like, no one ever tells you it's okay to take a break, so I'm just taking it. So for the rest of the year, I'm about to go on tour right now for the rest of the spring, basically, and then reel it back, opening a Reiki studio, chilling out, and just like resetting because I think it's healthy. That's how I feel right now. So may other people be inspired by that because no one's ever going to allow you to do it unless you just say I'm doing it.
Well,
That's it.
musicians have a kind of a siege mentality of just like keeping the debts from the door,
Yeah.
keeping hunger from the door,
Yeah.
keeping the lights on. and
I
stuff
just
like that.
feel like
So,
as touring musicians especially, we just live in a constant state of fight or flight and you never get to just sit down and ask yourself like what you want or if you're even okay. It's just like this like rat race that never stops. And so I'm stopping so that potentially I can have a rest of my life. You know what I mean? Just like, what do I want to do next?
Yeah.
I don't know right now, but I know that it's okay not to know. And like, ask me in 6 months and I'll probably have an answer for you.
Jenny Ben grinding.
Yeah, like legit.
Ben out here on
like
the
like
streets.
300 days a year. Like
Right.
that's
Like
not,
actual shit.
you know.
what makes up the picture of those 300 days, and like
Mm.
who are you playing with? What
Right.
what are the live scenarios you're playing in?
I mean, it's like it's one thing into the next, into the next, into the next, into the next. It's like, you know, we'll go out. So we're about to go out. Nick and I are about to go out for, 2 weeks. And then that leads right into like Jazz Fest prep and going down to New Orleans and playing with a different configuration, a different artist every single day, sometimes twice a day. And then it's like a one-off where someone needs a horn section. You have to learn their entire catalog and memorize it by the time you get to that rehearsal, which you may or may not have. And then it's flights and it's like, we were talking about, like, I didn't go to bed last night. Like I was up at 3:30 for the flight to come here. And then we're doing it again tomorrow. We have a 6 a.m. flight. And so it just never stops. And so it's the stuff that you don't see. Like, I always say that like my job is all the stuff and then the reward is the music. So you get to play music when you get to that point, but the other stuff is the stuff that I get paid to do.
She's a great travel agent, great driver.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I got some questions.
Okay,
You worked
go.
with some amazing people over the years. What have you learned from some of these people? What did you learn from, let's see, what did you learn from Lisa Fisher? Okay.
One word. Patience.
Patience.
This woman is the most patient musician. Oh, it's so beautiful. You go to see one of her shows and it's just like, not until she's ready.
Right.
And it's like she's so comfortable in the space that she's in that she will let you know when she's ready to say something.
Wow.
That's the biggest lesson that I've learned from her.
What have you learned? So Jen's made 2 records with Christian McBride and played several gigs with the gentleman.
Yes.
What have you learned from Christian?
There's like there's such a joy around him. And I think that he just sort of personifies greatness mixed with vibe.
Right.
It's like you always hope that someone who is that incredible will also be that incredible of a human being, and he's like the perfect example of that.
Oh, I love when that happens.
Yeah,
I know, I
it
just got a warm
doesn't-
fuzzy when
Oh,
you
it's
said
the
that.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
it doesn't.
Shout out to Christian.
It doesn't happen that
Wow.
often. But yeah, he's
Future Sounds from the Cellar guest.
yeah.
He actually is there on the
Yeah.
third date.
Yeah.
All right.
He told me actually, so it's
nice.
true.
I've known Jen for almost 20 years, and I checked your fucking Wikipedia today for the first time.
I have a Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I didn't make it.
I know you didn't.
Well, that's when you know you made it.
That's when you know you made it.
Wikipedia.
The people.
People.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Wikis.
I didn't fact check it, but I noticed.
Wiki citizens.
I don't even want to read it.
I noticed Santana was on there. You played with Santana?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what was that like?
Yeah, we played at the Warfield, and he came out for the whole set.
Warfield.
Yeah, Trey played at the Warfields. This was years ago. I was probably 24, 23, and he lives in San Francisco. He rode his Harley to the Warfields.
Sick.
At set break, he came in. No, at the beginning of the show, he came in. He brought us all music. He brought a CD of this unbelievable band from Mali, and he was asking for a boombox. He's like, "I have to play this for you." It's like just his only goal in life in that moment was like, "I have to play this for you. You guys have to hear this." And so we all stood around this teeny little boombox listening to it. And then he held it up and he goes, "Who's responsible enough to take this CD?" And everyone pointed at me. They're like, "Give it to the girl."
Funny.
So I still have it. Really, really incredible. And then he played the whole set with us. He was only supposed to, he thought he was going to play one song with us, but we segued every song together so that he wasn't allowed to leave the stage.
One
I didn't do
giant
it.
medley.
Yeah.
That's
It was
old
a
school.
Trey. I didn't have any say over that, but I wasn't mad about it.
So him and Trey were just Guitar Mageddon.
Yeah, well, Fish went on tour with Santana for like 2 years,
Oh, I didn't
Europe and
know
all this
that.
stuff, and yeah. So he's like, I got to Wawa battle with him every single night that we were on the road together. He'd have him up.
So
for
they
the
had
show.
a they
They have like a
And
super.
did you look at the two of them and say, "Man, this is great," but they're no Nick Cassarino?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing
Yeah.
he always thinks
Yes.
about.
First thing was like, you know what? This could use more guitar.
Yeah,
It could use Nick.
Exactly.
Somebody take a solo.
What did you learn from? What did you learn? You played. What did you learn from Herbie Hancock? And
Oh,
I
Lord.
wish I was there for that session.
I do too. I got the opportunity to record a song with him. Same time, probably mid 20s. And I just happened to be in town. It was one of those things where it's like, I got a call. It was like, you should come, you should just stop by right now. And I was like, okay, why? Like, you'll see when you get here. And so I walked into the studio, and Herbie Hancock is there with a 9-foot grand, just like creating this beautiful music with John Patitucci. And like, it was wild.
in Vermont.
In Vermont at the barn. Yeah.
Wow. So the Barn Studios in an undisclosed town location in Vermont, but it's the Fish Studio.
Super rural.
Incredible place. Jen's, we've recorded 2 records there, 3.
Yeah.
Incredible vibe in there. Okay, so
Yeah.
Herbie's in there.
Yes, Herbie's in there.
In
and-
Vermont.
And I'm just like looking through the window.
How'd he get there?
And, well, I don't exactly know.
That's so
I don't
funny.
exactly know. But they wrote this like 4-part suite that only one part ended up coming out, and the rest is in some vault somewhere. But he's like, "Will you put some, play some trumpet on it?" And I said, "Okay." I mean, I was like pissing my pants. This is
Right.
like, are you like, how am I even here right now? So. He could tell that I was nervous, and we were about ready to do the first take, and he came over, and I had headphones on, and he came in the ISO booth, and he lifted up my headphone and said in my ear, he goes, "Hey, remember, the only mistake you can make is not being yourself." And he closed the headphone and turned around and walked away. I was like, this is the greatest day of my entire life.
Thank you, Mr. Hancock.
Thank you, Mr. Hancock, sir. Yeah. So I believe in that wholeheartedly, not only because he said it, but because it's true.
Well, yeah, and
You know?
isn't that something that we learn as we grow older?
Yeah.
Now that you're there's a maturity and a reckoning that you seem very kind of willing and excited to face.
Yeah.
Now that you're taking a break for the first time, you've been on the road for like 27 years.
Yeah.
But wisdom like that just rings truer the older we get.
Yep.
Even we can look at how we perform now, and then and then look at maybe clips of our younger selves and going, that younger person might have heard that phrase, but just couldn't have heard that phrase.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
I noticed you played with Dave Matthews recently.
I did like
as
last week.
one of my musical heroes. Shout out, Dave. What was the situation?
I was at a festival outside of Phoenix called the Innings Festival. It's like marries baseball and music together. And I met Dave when I was like 19 or 20. he came out on the road and played a show with us, and I see him every once in a while, like every couple of years. We're not close, but I see him and we wave and hug and whatever. But I'm great friends with Jeff Coffin and Rashawn Ross, who are his horn section.
Killing.
And I was playing the same day that they were headlining the festival, and said, do you want to come through and bring your horn? And I said, well, okay.
Right.
And so I did. I came up for a tune and we all played together. It was great. And there was a segue. It was like the song that I was playing, and then they were going into some ZZ Top song. And so I asked beforehand, I said, I'm just going to like step off after, like when you make the transition, I'll just like creep off back. They were like, yeah, sounds good. And so that's exactly what happened. And then,
Hey.
and then they played another song after that. And then you gotta see it. It's so funny. There's footage of it. Dave comes up to the mic, kind of like all awkward, and goes, sometimes you're just late to things.
Huh?
And no one was making any noise in the crowd. No one knew what he was talking about. He goes, I was halfway through that song when I realized that I didn't thank Jen Hartswick. Because we segued into something else, and he goes, and then into something else, and he goes, I forgot to thank her. He goes, she just came up here and kicked my ass, and I didn't even thank her. So, thank you, Jen. Also, I hope you didn't leave in a huff.
That's what he said? That's mad funny.
So, Dave, I did not leave in a huff. I left in respectful, see you later, thanks for having me.
Well, you left in such good standing that we're going to play one of his songs today.
Yeah, let's
play
do
When
it.
I'm Weary
Yeah,
in the choral setting of the Olive Tree Madmen here at the Olive Tree Café.
love it.
Jen Hartswick, thank you so much
Thank
for being a part of
you.
Sounds from the Cellar.
Thank
Jen
you.
Hartswick.
When I'm weary, when I'm tired, you remind me to keep on trying. There'll be dark, dark days, more coming, just as sure as this sweet earth beneath my feet. It don't matter, come tomorrow. Together we must face what lies ahead. be